Settle in, because I'm about to tell you the story of my life. More specifically, why my life ended.
Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of Telemazing. Today we're going to be doing the 3-view of 13 Reasons Why, the newest show on Netflix. We're going to have Melissa, we have Josefina, and we have Holly here, and we're going to pretty much break down 3 episodes of a show that is pretty much about a teenage guy going through his friend who just committed suicide, and pretty much the ramifications of tapes that get released that reveal her actually telling them why she killed herself. And it's pretty intense. And so we'll start off with, before you watch that show, when I actually told you guys this is the show we're going to be doing for 3-view, what were your initial thoughts?
I knew nothing about it.
Me neither. Nothing.
I actually knew a lot about it because it's been being discussed for a really long time. Because Selena Gomez is the producer and she's been attached for a really long time, it was popping up not only in like production news, but also in like entertainment news. So I kept hearing about it. I kept seeing the book in bookstores, and I was like, I wonder if this is ever going to get made. And when it did get made, I was like, oh yes, I can finally know what this is.
Let's talk about episode 1. You guys are watching episode 1. It finishes. What were your initial thoughts?
I wasn't sure. I didn't know what to think. I thought I was getting into like more of like a murder mystery. Like I thought there was going to be something more to it at the end of episode 1. So I was really intrigued to keep going. It felt like super suspenseful at the end of episode 1. I was very curious still to keep going.
Episode 1, it has the problem that a lot of Netflix shows have now, that because they are shooting 13 episodes straight, it takes them a really long time to get into it. They write it in such a long form, 13 episode things, that for the first 20 minutes, nothing is going on. And that I need to be caught pretty quickly.
I initially loved it. I agree with you that the beginning was a tiny bit slow to pick up, but it reminded me, and maybe because this was taped, like I listen to a ton of podcasts, and I've been listening to a lot of these personal journal podcasts, like This American Life and S-Town and all of that. So the minute that it picked up with these tapes and it was this auditory adventure, I was hooked.
I love the idea that each episode is a tape, each episode is a person, and I love the sort of where you see him watching the flashback and sort of the camera work in those moments.
The transitions
really
are incredibly well done throughout the entire season.
And I love
3 episodes.
And I think what was really helpful is just a small thing, but the fact that he cut his head was really helpful for me, because there were times when I'm like, is he in the past or in the present?
Oh yeah.
That was really helpful.
The dialogue was kind of bad, I thought, though. It was like a little like wobbly or something.
Part of me is forgiving of it because, like, when it comes down to adults trying to write teenager,
yeah, that makes sense.
It's a rough call.
It's a little dissociative.
Yeah. So far, for end of first episode, I'm good. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, I was intrigued.
How are we feeling after episode 2?
Here's my issue with the show is, as great as I think this is a really interesting way to look at suicide, and especially in high schools and with teens and bullying and all that stuff, it feels more like revenge than anything else, and that bothered me in a lot of ways. And I think it especially came out in this episode.
Yeah.
It was like,
you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Yeah, it felt like that. It felt like I'm gonna kill myself just to get revenge. I needed more explanation. I loved the fact that Jessica said she's lying, which gives me a reason to not believe Hannah, which I like, because now I don't know who to believe.
That was good.
That was really good. But I think it was incredibly convoluted in getting to its reasoning.
I also really liked the way that they're kind of handling Jess and Hannah, like, because high school female friendships are really like, you could not pay me to go back to that time in my life ever.
Way.
Because there's like hormones and jealousies and insecurities, all of these things. So I actually like that. I like the way they're set up. I like the way they become friends and the way they have their falling out, because I think that's actually a lot of people's truths.
I just felt very confused a lot of the time, because I think you need to hide things from your audience, and I love that there's this big thing that's coming up in the tapes that has been hidden from us, and that it is affecting Jason, Jess, and all these people. But I think that episode had too many secrets.
But I think, I
like it. Me neither. I was like,
it bothers
next
me.
one.
Yeah, we only understand what Clay understands.
Yeah.
And to some extent, we do know that there's something else going on with the other people, but that's pretty much the only thing. Like, we're pretty much learning things with Clay. So where you say it's confusing, I think it's also a time when Clay was also crazy confused. That's why he ended up going up to certain people, going like, "Hey, what's going on with this?" And them giving him pretty much nonchalant answers of like, "Get away from me." And so that adds to that confusion. And so I feel like the way that it's almost like how in Legion, it's supposed to be disorienting because he is also disoriented. That's how I at least saw how they were trying to write Clay.
Maybe they did that on purpose.
Maybe they did do it
so
on
that you
purpose.
feel like a teenager, that like angsty teenager
Yeah,
doesn't even know what's
part of
going
it.
on. So
Oh, I
maybe
definitely
they.
felt
I mean, they definitely felt
yeah.
that.
And so now I have episode 3. We're done with the 3 view. Are we feeling better going into the end of episode 3, or is it now like, oh, this has died off for me now?
I think it's great. I think it's really exciting. I think I want to know what happens and who else she blames and how Clay fits into all of this.
Same, I already watched episode 4, so I couldn't help myself. I had to do it.
I loved it. I'm hooked. It's taking everything in my power to not Google what the book is about because I want to know so bad. Like, I was late to something because I can't watch half. I couldn't pause it. I was like, I have 15 minutes left. I'm just going to do it. Like, I can't not. I'm so enthralled in this world and this mystery. And, like, I'm worried that the ending isn't going to pay off. But from these first 3 episodes, I can't wait.
I love how you get to see like each person, how we all have an effect on somebody else's psyche and conscience and life. I think it's a really interesting way of showing that without being preachy.
Everybody is learning their issue. They're going through their own issues and then realizing how they could have prevented this, and they can't do anything about it, which is what so many teen shows do. They're like, oh, this is a problem, solve it, yay. This is like, yeah, this is your problem, but it's too late to fix it now.
I think it's going to turn into like a bigger conversation though, because her taking that so hard, some girls would have been like, yeah, I've got the best butt in school. Like some people
girl with the
react to
lips.
it
Yeah, girl
way
with the lips, yeah.
differently. So I think it'll be a bigger conversation throughout the show of like, is Hannah just a really sensitive girl? No matter what would have happened, she would have committed suicide anyway. Or is everybody really so horrible that they should be more careful about how their actions affect people?
I love how it shows how we don't think beyond the scope of what my needs are, how it might affect me. You don't think beyond that. And I think the show really shows that in a really interesting way. And you see
In a
that
very
with
teenage
each-
way.
in a
Very teenagers are very this way, very tunnel vision. They don't really notice about how it affects everything else. And
And I
that's such a teen thing.
I also think it also shows how, which is something like a movie like Easy A has done in the past, how like if a guy in school sleeps with a girl, he's a god. If a girl sleeps with a guy, she's a slut. And that's also a thing that the show does really well, is show the huge like
The duality,
the
between
duality
those
between
two
those two
situations.
things.
I think it's obvious, but would you recommend this show to other people?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I already did. I was at a party
Yeah.
last night and I was like, oh my god, I'm watching this show.
I'm actually really happy that I have 3 girls here to discuss this, because as a guy, I feel that there are a lot of issues that are talked about throughout the series that I'm glad that like there's not like a slew of guys that have that opinion on. So I'm actually really happy that you guys are all here so we can talk about it. And also so you can also go, Joe, shut up because you don't know what you're talking about, because that would be great. And so,
Joe, shut up because you don't know what you're talking about.
Just let us talk.
And that's it. That's the 3 review of 13 Reasons Why. And let us know if you guys liked the show on Netflix. Comment below. Let us know what you think, whether you liked it or disliked it. If you're new to Telemazing, we appreciate you guys checking us out. We have new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Along with that, we have new articles that go up on the website on Wednesdays and a new podcast every Monday. So subscribe so you can get all of the cool things. All of the cool things that way there. And so, for Melissa, for Alexandra, Josefina,
Wow.
and Holly, I'm Joseph Wamba. Thank you for watching. Now go watch some TV.